D24.
Victoria Police Force presents D24. From the files of the Victoria Police, for the first time come these true stories of unceasing war against crime, of day and night vigilance that protects our life and our property, and of the nerve center of the Police Information Bureau, D24.
Prisoner at the bar, you have been found guilty of a truly dreadful crime, a premeditated, deliberate crime. I have no alternative but to sentence you to a long period in jail.
This is the true story of the man with the butterfly collar.
Yes, the man with the butterfly collar brings a shiver back to my spine, and I think to yours too, Phil. And
yes, it was compulsory listening, wasn't it? D24 was at 8:30 on a Wednesday night on 3DB?
8 o'clock Wednesday night, but here's the man who knows more, Roland Strong. Good evening.
Good day.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Roland.
That's all right. It's nice to be here.
Well, to listen to your voice again and to relive D24, were they good days for you?
Oh, yes. Oh, it was a wonderful time. 10 years of it, you know. It was a long, long period, but yes, we enjoyed it thoroughly.
You were telling me on the phone the other day, Roland, that in fact you appeared in radio serials on 3XY in the mid-30s.
Not the mid-30s, mate. Give us a go.
Oh, was it later than the mid-30s?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But it was late enough. It was about 1938, to be frank.
I thought you might have been Australia's Mickey Rooney of the time, you see.
Yeah, well, of course.
And what were they, Roland?
What were what?
The serials.
I can't remember the name of the series. Only in one episode, I think. It was one or two episodes. It was a thing by Mayne Linton. He was a very well-known producer of the time.
Was that the first time you ever fronted a microphone professionally?
Yes. That was, yes, 38.
Would your happiest days have been producing the music for the people, opera for the people, Blue Danube and D24?
Well, I produced music for the people and sometimes, but not mostly the drama, not the musicals. Mostly drama like D24 and John Turner's Family and things like that.
And you acted as narrator, didn't you? On
yes, nearly all the time.
Was there a stint during the war, Roland, when you were a staff announcer at 3UZ?
Not during the war, just before the war. For about 7 or 8 months, yes. I did the early morning. I used to get in there at 6 o'clock in the morning and open the newspaper and read the news from the paper.
D24 was the forerunner here in Melbourne to cop shows on television like Homicide. Could you just give us a background to the factual stories you presented? Did you go through it with the help of the police?
Yes, we had a policeman, detective, virtually on the staff. He was with us all the time, and he used to bring us the depositions or the stories, and from there we'd make the dramas.
You've never lost this very distinctive voice of yours, Roland.
Is that right? It's getting on a bit now.
Well, Bruce and I enjoyed seeing you last year at the Radio Awards at the Exhibition Building, and it's what prompted this interview tonight. Yeah. Because apart from the shows you did for Crawford's, of course, there was a period, I know, when you were with the ABC. Was this in the talks department, or were you, fronting up as a personality?
Well, we didn't have personalities at the ABC in those days, you know. I started there as an announcer. Then I became elevated to what's called a studio supervisor.
Yes, what period are we talking about?
We're talking very early in the war.
And again, were you a newsreader there?
Yep.
Roland, how is it that you met up with the Crawford family? How did that combination come about?
Oh, I couldn't tell you how it came about, but it just happened. But that's a long time back. That was even long before that. Before the getting into radio.
Yes.
Dorothy was a choir member of a church I belonged to, and I got to know her that way.
She produced some wonderful drama, didn't she?
Oh, Oh, yes, indeed, yes.
I hear that Blue Danube was one of the most costly productions ever put down.
Well, they had a big orchestra and a big chorus and a lot of actors, yes, it was. In those days, mind you, big costs were nothing compared with today. But the Blue Danube and Music for the People and Opera for the People, they were huge costs.
In the mid-50s, you made a very easy transition to television, Roland. I remember you being one of the Channel 9 newsreaders.
Yeah. Well, you had to, didn't you? The radio drama was folding. You had to do something to earn a crust. And Colin Bednall kindly gave me a part-time job reading news.
That was weekends, wasn't it?
I can't remember whether it was weekends. Miller, Tom Miller was, I think he was the newsreader before then, and he became producer of In Melbourne Tonight, and they asked me to fill in for him.
Then, of course, there was the successful Coles £3,000 question, wasn't there?
Yes, well, that was something that just came by accident. A fellow rang me from 3DB and said, could I, not from 3DB, from Channel 7, and said, would I help them out in reading voiceover commercials? And that's how that started. And then they asked me to produce it. And then eventually I compared it.
What was the most pleasing period of your career, Roland, which spanned so many years?
What was the most pleasing?
Yeah, the most fulfilling for you personally.
I suppose the radio. I prefer radio than television any time. I think radio is more fulfilling. I used to enjoy radio much more than television. I don't know, can't explain why, but I did. Yes, I think the television days from about 48, 49 to 56, I guess. Yes.
And do you miss not being in the limelight today?
Not a bit. No. Not at one. I never have.
Do you keep in touch with any of the people that you worked with in the past?
Not a great deal, I'm afraid. I'd like to do that, perhaps, but no, I guess not. I don't know how many of them are left now. Of course, it's a long time ago.
Did you ever keep any of your own material, like transcriptions and tapes?
Not a one. Not one. I've got a lot of publicity stuff, of course, newspaper cuttings and that sort of thing. But no, I didn't.
It's a great pity that a lot of those programs have just been either just flung away or you know.
I quite agree with you. As a matter of fact, I was working with Crawford's until they folded, and Hector asked me to look up some old homicide, old D24 scripts to check them. And when they went to get the scripts, they weren't there. They would all, and also the recordings. Of course, they were all made on big 16-inch discs in those days, and they'd all disappeared. They had one left.
Gee, that's sad, isn't it?
I don't know where you got the one you played tonight. Where did that come from?
I got that from a friend of ours who is a collector on tape. He hasn't any of the discs, but he's got a lot of dubbings, and we got the opening there.
Yeah, well, I would think that's about the only one in existence, you know. It's a great pity.
Well, Roland, you tell us that your career in radio and television, started way back in 1938, and yet I always feel, and I've known you for so long, that you sort of shunned show business. You weren't the type of person to go to first night parties and mix in those circles. And do you ever regret that you chose not to be out front in the limelight?
Well, I don't think shun is the word. I just not frightfully interested in going out to big parties anyway. No, I don't have any regrets about it. No.
The Music for the People was an integral part of Melbourne on a Sunday afternoon, the Maya Music Bowl with thousands of people. That must have been a great pride to be there centre stage at the Maya Music Bowl.
Yes, although I can remember when we first started that in the Botanic Gardens, it wasn't in the music bowl, it was just in one of the lawns in the gardens. And that was when it was, I think, broadcast by 3UZ. And then it gradually expanded, and 3DB, I think, took it up. And we went to the music bowl. But first of all, it was just done in the gardens on a very small platform.
Yes, as were carols by candlelight originally too, weren't they, in the Alexandra Gardens?
Yeah.
Roland Strong, if you had the chance to do it all over again, what would you change this time around?
Oh, come on, mate. I don't think... What's the point? How can you change things? I don't know. I don't think I've got any things I particularly want to change, no. Well, how would you change it? It just rolls along and happens, and been in just about every aspect of radio that's possible to be in, you know. From writing to performing to singing once. I actually sang on 3UZ once.
What was the show?
Oh, it was a staff show. I forget what it was called, but it was a staff show. Everybody in the staff appeared, and they asked me to sing a song, and I sang it, which was pretty awful, mind you. It was the first and only time I've...
Oh, we'd love to have a record of that.
Yes.
I think that may have been turfed.
I think...
What was the song, Roland?
I haven't the faintest idea. Not the faintest.
I couldn't just sing us for it now, Roland.
Way in the world. I have a cat here eating the telephone line, and he'll bite you off of it.
All right.
Well, I mean, if it was good enough for Cary Grant to sing in a movie and Jimmy Stewart, there's no reason why Roland Strong shouldn't burst into song too.
No, there's no reason at all, but he's not going to. No way.
Roland, it's been lovely speaking to you.
It's nice to hear from him, Bo.
And you know, you hold a very special part in our hearts in here on a Sunday night.
Very kind of you.
Thank you, Roland.
There's no doubt you are a giant of the radio industry in this country, Roland Strong.
The word giant, but it's been a good time. We've had some fun.
Good night, Roland.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Victoria Police Force presents D24. From the files of the Victoria Police, for the first time come these true stories of unceasing war against crime, of day and night vigilance that protects our life and our property, and of the nerve center of the Police Information Bureau, D24.